special aphrodisiac episode of Food Factory, we take a bite out of forbidden fruit chili caramels.
Dance to the beat of a different drummer.
And go nuts over a chocolate coffee syrup.
But first, a steamy love affair.
I think any time of the day. Morning, noon, dinner,
night, all day, anytime, anyway.
Get ready for your passions to soar.
It just looks beautiful.
Don't let anyone ever tell you that size doesn't matter.
It's got to be perfect size. It's got to be medium size.
Wait a second. What are we talking about here?
Asparagus, obviously. Sexy, hot asparagus.
How can asparagus be sexy and hot?
It activates the vitamin E in your body, which then triggers your hormones, which then gets you, let's say, in the mood a little bit.
That's my kind of vegetable.
Mesmerizing Mary here is the owner of Safety Specialty Foods, the makers of the sexy hot pickled asparagus.
And Vivacious Victoria is their food safety manager.
And we're cousins.
And we're cousins.
Wait, you guys are cousins?
And we're cousins.
Safety bottles the asparagus right here in their Chesterfield, Michigan factory.
Which may not look so romantic from the outside,
but inside's a different story.
Is it hot in here, or is it that sexy hot asparagus?
All right, ladies, calm down.
To make this pickled peppered aphrodisiac, an electric dolly is used to escort the delicious Michigan-grown asparagus to the cutting line.
We get it, and the next day we're packing it.
The fresh produce heads over to Diane on the cutting line, who loads the asparagus into this guillotine-like device in order to create uniformity in the product's size. After bobbiting them down to spec, the roots are swept into a receptacle, which is then donated to a local food bank.
While the remaining product is stacked up in a plastic bin.
Those bins make their way over to Gorgeous George on the washing line. He's a man who knows how to use his hands.
As George lovingly caresses the asparagus, he submerges them in water, giving the product a good scrub down.
A passion-filled bath, if you will.
Oh, I will.
We handle approximately 4,000 kilograms of asparagus a day.
That's an awful lot of stalks.
Yeah, awful lot.
Meanwhile, on the other side of the line, the empty jars get filled up with some of these sexy hot spices.
Those spices, those sexy hot spices, include bay leaf, coriander seed, pepper, hot red pepper, and garlic. The jars and asparagus now both head over to the filling line, where their love affair is destined to begin.
Before they come together, though, pre-washed habanero and jalapenos both get added into the jars for flavor.
Some people are brave enough to even eat the peppers.
Wait, aren't those pretty hot?
Those are really
yeah, I know what I ate.
Wow, Victoria, how'd it taste?
Ooh.
Yeah, she's fine. Let's move on.
Hold on. No lie. I gotta drink some water.
As we give Victoria a second to cool down, it's time to get these asparagus into their jars.
The jars are filled to capacity using a somewhat untraditional method.
Tell them, luscious Lena.
Over here we do a lot of banging.
What?
So the banging that happens, that's to make more room for a sexy hot asparagus. We want that jar packed tight so our consumer gets every penny's worth.
With every penny's worth inside that jar, the brine is then added from these pitchers, which are filled from these tanks that hold 208 liters. Fill her up, sir.
Now that's a generous pour.
The filled jars then make their way over to the capping machine.
Here they travel by conveyor under the waiting caps, where they make a sexy hot connection and continue along as one.
Ain't that cute?
Now sealed up, the jars are transferred back into their bins and brought over to the kettle.
And that's where things get really steamy.
Why'd you say it like that? It's a kettle. Of course it gets steamy.
It sure does.
See, you're doing it again.
Sorry. That steamy kettle is set to a temperature of 200 degrees and serves two purposes. It heat seals the caps, while also pasteurizing the jars.
Once sufficiently steamed, the hot water is drained.
And the jars are loaded onto a new rolling cart, which I like to call the love train.
The love train is rolled over to the cooling station, where it's hooked into a crane system,
which submerges it into a tub of cool water.
This process is repeated into two more successive tubs, each cooler than the next, gradually reducing the temperature of the jars. After that nice romantic dip, the love train is lowered back onto its wheelbase.
And the jars get prepped for labeling. At the labeling line, they're unloaded by hand and travel in a big pack around the conveyor.
Then it's their time to shine. Each individual jar propels forward and has a sticker applied. Now all dressed up, they're placed into master cases in groups of 6.
Taped shut by this young buck.
I always seal it in.
We can hand pack about 7,500 jars a day of our sexy hot asparagus.
And that will give you approximately a half a truckload.
Those trucks are sent out to retailers across North America and end up in the hands of customers who will soon be very, very satisfied.
Fulfilled even.
Oh, yeah.
But buyer beware. Eat too many of them and you're bound to find out why they call the product sexy hot pickled asparagus.
Is that why I'm feeling so hot?
Yeah, probably.
Well, I'm sufficiently uncomfortable. Shall we get out of here?
Right behind you. Just grabbing a jar of sexy hot asparagus for the road. Hey, want to split some?
We work together. I think it's best we eat separately.
Yeah, fair enough. Next up on our love episode is a tasty treat that's sure to get you all hot and bothered.
If you're on a date and you want to have a little bit of adventure, I highly recommend you bring the Apple Ghost Chili Salted Caramel along.
That's Tim Petron, the COO of Bissinger's Handcrafted Chocolatiers.
Bissinger's is the producer of the Apple Ghost Chili Salt Caramel, which features a three-tiered powerhouse of aphrodisiacs. That's chocolate, apple, and the unbelievably hot ghost chili.
The Ghost Chili is said to be approximately 300 to 400 times hotter than a jalapeno.
And Bissinger's knows from hot, because at 350 years old, their libido is still going strong. You know, they were actually the Confiseur Imperial way back in the days of King Louis XIV.
So that meant if you were a friend or a guest of King Louis, you were eating our confections.
King Louis, huh? Gotta imagine he had some wild bacchanalias, right?
King Louis XIV was a very powerful man, so I imagine he was pretty spoiled and enjoyed the confections however he wanted.
King Louis, you dog, you.
To this day, many of the same recipes from the 1600s are still being produced by Bissinger's, along with some adventurous concoctions like the Apple Ghost Chili Salt Caramel.
The award-winning chocolates are made in Bissinger's St. Louis, Missouri headquarters.
The process begins by weighing out the initial ingredients into an old-fashioned copper kettle.
That includes 18 kilograms of ooey gooey rice syrup.
And 6 kilograms of sweet sugar, which is scooped in and evenly distributed over top.
Once filled, the copper kettle is brought over to the mixer where it's stirred and heated over an exposed flame. And just like they used to do for King Louis.
As the mix heats, apple powder is added in by lead candy Coke Kelsey, who, when it comes to love and candy, likes to play it cool.
The candy with the salt it's pretty hot. But I'm kind of a chicken, so.
Well, would you at least take it along on a first date?
Oh, heck no. Burn your tongue.
Ah, fair point.
As the mix reaches a steaming hot temperature of 107 degrees Celsius, Kelsey adds in 4 liters of whole dairy milk and sweet apple extract.
Sweet.
Sweet as Apple Ghost Chili Salt Caramel.
Once the caramel is deemed ready, the cooling table is rolled in and the copper kettle is tipped out over top.
And what better way to celebrate the perfect pour than with a heart sign?
Adorable.
Right back at you, Goyles.
With the cooling table filled, it's rolled over here, where the caramel is left to solidify overnight.
The next morning, fresh as a daisy, the workers bring the solid caramel to the cutting line.
The caramel cutting is done with an old-fashioned roly-bladey thing.
We're still doing things in copper kettles. We're still touching a product by hand. We're still cutting it with scoring blades.
After scoring the big caramel piece into 30 to 40 centimeter squares, the smaller pieces are individually run through this device, which cuts it into strips.
The strips are turned on their sides and once again run through the same machine, and voila! The strips are now cute little cubes.
From here, the caramels head over to the enrobing line, where things get really racy.
After being placed one by one on this wired conveyor, they pass over top a pool of milk chocolate to get their bottoms lightly coated.
Those are some nice-looking bottoms. Of candy. Nice-looking bottoms of candy. The caramels come off the wire conveyor and pass through a cooling section en route to the most enticing part of the whole process.
So the sexiest part of the Apple Ghost Chili Salted Caramel is watching it become fully enveloped in that smooth, beautiful, seductive milk chocolate.
Now lathered in sweet, sweet chocolate, the caramels continue along to get the ghost chili salt sprinkled on by this lady here.
Hi, I'm Donna, and I am a candy striker here at Bissinger's.
Donna hand sprinkles the very potent spice over top the passing chocolates, which is a crucial step.
I would argue she might have the most important job in the facility, because if she puts too much, it is unbearably hot. If she doesn't put enough, you kind of feel like you got something left out.
Now packed with the powerful ghost chili punch, the chocolates head through a cooling tunnel
and emerge here, where they're greeted by these two lovely ladies.
We like to keep it spicy, but we gotta box them up.
The boxes filled with chocolates head over to this very loving packaging line, hey there, and are hand-placed into their boxes, ready for great lovers worldwide.
So if I had to seduce my wife with an apple ghost chili salted caramel, I'm gonna let her enjoy this decadent platter with apple ghost chili salted caramel, fresh fruit, fresh honey, cheeses, and most importantly, probably a bottle of wine. She wouldn't be able to say no.
Mrs. Tim, you're one lucky lady.
Well, are we about done here? I think the trio of aphrodisiacs are starting to kick in.
Maybe a good time for a commercial break.
Yeah, I think that would be best.
Wow, these things are potent. You know, I always thought there was something kind of romantic about beets. They're sweet, they're red.
Technically, they're beet red.
And all the way back to the ancient Romans, they were regarded as aphrodisiacs. But anytime I cook them, my kitchen looks like a crime scene.
Natasha Shapiro, marketing manager of Love Beets, feels your pain.
There's a lot of mess. You get juice all over. You get on your clothes, on your countertops.
Exactly. But this company has solved my problems with the ready-to-eat beets.
If you love beets, the answer to your prayers is Love Beets.
We've done the work for you.
As the saying goes, if you can't beat them, join them. So let's join Love Beets in their 100,000 square foot facility in Rochester, New York.
Beets arrive at the facility in 1,750 kilogram boxes from farmers near and far. Their warehouse can store more than 4,000 tons of beets.
David Stocklosa, the managing director of Love Beets, knows that not all beets are created equal.
The relationships with the growers and quality of the beetroot is everything to this business. We don't just ask for beets, right? We want the best beets.
Those very best beets are brought from the warehouse to the factory floor, where they're tipped into hoppers.
Now that's a pretty hip hopper.
Gonna make that beets rot, baby!
Somebody had to say it. The beets fall down through the hoppers onto a conveyor that takes them to the peeler.
The beets drop into a rotary drum peeler in batches of 25 to 40 kilograms. The spinning drum creates enough centrifugal force that the beets are thrown against the abrasive wall, which removes their skin.
So, kind of like the Gravitron at the state fair, but for beets, right?
That's exactly right.
And there's nothing left over because all the peels go to either feed livestock or get turned into beet powder.
We call that spreading the love. Beets.
The peeled beets drop onto a conveyor that whisks them to a giant soaking tank.
And they take a nice refreshing dip to make sure that they're free of any stubborn bits of skin and dirt.
After, they're clean as a whistle. The beets emerge from the tank onto a conveyor that carries them under air jets that blow them dry.
These beets are conveyed past the inspection team, who make sure that only the best, juiciest beets get sent out to their customers.
The inspectors take a look at the size and color of the beets, slice out any imperfections, and send the beets on their way.
Now that the beets are officially perfect, they make their way to a machine that weighs them out and drops them into 250 gram, 300 gram, or 500 gram vacuum packs.
Rumor has it that David does an impressive impression of this particular machine.
The drop wire.
Nailed it.
Before the lids of the vac packs are melted on, packaging workers wipe beet juice off the containers to ensure a perfect seal.
The lids are stuck on, and the packs shrink-wrapped.
The quality control team weighs the beet packs and inspects them with an X-ray machine.
Okay, so now at this point, the vac packs may look like they're ready for customers, but they're not. The beets inside them are still raw.
Here's a different David to help us with that. David number 2 loads a stack of beets into the retort cooker.
About 6,000 packages of beets, almost 25,000 individual beets, cook and steam for 90 minutes.
Beets are the perfect date food.
How so?
Because they make you steamy.
The cooked packs are unloaded from the retort trays and are wheeled over to the packing area.
Beet lovers pack the love beets into cardboard cases.
The boxes are stacked and palletized and moved to the refrigerated warehouse for shipment.
So, how are they?
It's almost like eating candy. And very sweet. Very good. Oh my God, they're really good. You want some? Want some? You want some?
Any truth to the legend that they're aphrodisiacs?
I feel really good. I do. Everyone here is so beautiful.
I bet you say that to all the girls.
You know, voiceover artist, you have a great voice. What do you look like?
Oh boy, Dave's getting frisky. We better let Natasha have the last word here.
Hey, voiceover ma'am, meeting these beats. Come join me.
Uh-oh, we better beat it.
Get ready for our final aphrodisiac attack.
Your pulse quickens, your pupils dilate, your breath catches in your throat. Is it love?
Or maybe it's just that latte you're drinking, flavored with Torani chocolate macadamia nut syrup.
This potent elixir has an endorphin blast for the ladies, courtesy of chocolate.
And for the gents, the testosterone-boosting power of macadamia nuts. You've seen the label at every great coffee shop in the world, but if you've ever wondered how to pronounce it...
Torani. I think I've got it. Torani.
There you go. Torani was founded in 1925 by Rinaldo and Isilda Torri. They were both San Francisco natives who went back to Lucca, Italy, and brought recipes back to North Beach, San Francisco's Italian neighborhood.
More than 90 years later, Torani syrups are available in 55 countries worldwide, and they make just about every flavor imaginable.
Cherry lime,
Green apple,
blueberry,
peanut butter,
French vanilla.
chocolate macadamia nut. Want us to do all 130?
What did we miss? We missed somebody's favorite in there.
Not mine. Chocolate macadamia nut, present and accounted for. Torani makes all these sensuous syrups in their production facility in San Francisco, California, where many have left their hearts.
Every flavor starts in Torani's Research and Development Lab. Domenico and Susan combine flavors and extracts from all over the world to create the perfect tastes and textures for their syrups.
It's good to go.
Yep.
Once the formula for the syrup has been perfected, it moves into mass production.
Twice a day, Torani receives deliveries of pure liquid cane sugar in a giant tanker truck.
Dan, the sugar man, hooks up his truck to the sugar pipeline at the facility and pumps in thousands of liters of sugar.
Sweet. The sugar goes into this enormous holding tank, which pumps out the sugar as needed throughout the day.
Francisco starts the batch by weighing out the dry ingredients, including citric acid that is used to preserve freshness.
He pours them into a huge mixing tank, then prepares the extracts used to create the chocolate macadamia nut flavor.
I have better to love to give.
Francisco, who BTW lives in San Francisco,
Freaky,
inserts a portable pneumatic pump into tubs of chocolate and macadamia nut extracts and pumps it into the mixing tank.
Main ingredient is love.
It's love. It absolutely is.
Francisco fills the mixing tank with filtered water, pumps in pure liquid cane sugar, and starts mixing.
The tank holds 8,300 liters of syrup. That's a whole lot of love.
Boxes are lifted off the bottles as they are conveyed towards their date with decadence.
The bottles mass together and are sorted into single file.
They enter one side of this circular machine called an orbital that rinses them, and they emerge from the other side ready for filling.
And so the dance begins. The bottles are whisked into the filler, where a nozzle is inserted and syrup sprayed in.
To cap it all off, the capper puts caps on the bottles. Torani can fill and cap over 200 bottles per minute.
Yes, and now that the syrup-bottle relationship has been consummated, Torani puts a ring on it. A gold band is placed on each one.
The sealed bottles continue down the line through a labeler that slaps on the instantly recognizable Torani label to each one.
Now, come on. Say it in a more romantic, sexy way. Show her how it's done, Tim.
All dressed up and ready for anything.
Attaboy.
Each batch of syrup produces 11,000 bottles. The bottles are grouped into batches of 12 and automatically dropped into boxes. So kind of like falling head over heels, but without the head or the heels.
Okay, you don't have to try to make it romantic anymore.
The boxes keep on moving along the conveyors as they get automatically sealed and palletized.
Then they're ready to be shipped out to latte lovers and just plain lovers all over the world.
Is it like a love potion?
It is a love potion.
Yeah.
We can all use a little more love in our coffee cups and in our lives.
Well, you certainly can.
Pot calling the kettle black much?
Hey, I got a date tonight.
As if.
No, really. For more information about this show, please visit foodnetwork.ca.